What's up, everybody? You're listening to High Tea with Mel, Kel, and Kay. If you're down for some unapologetic and unfiltered discussions from melanated perspectives, let's get this chat steeped and brewed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Saturday, ladies.
Happy
Good
Saturday.
morning.
I hope the weather is beautiful where y'all are, because this weekend is blowing my mind and I love it.
It
Yes.
is. It's
Feels
so
so
lovely.
Ugh, need it. Well, I am excited to be here today. I will get some energy, y'all, I promise. I need a little energy. I'm gonna get there. But I am excited for this episode because we have a guest. We have a guest. Yeah. And we have Miss Sunni T Connor here with us today. I'm gonna let her introduce herself before we get started.
Hi, I'm the guest.
Hello.
First, I want to thank you, ladies, for having me on your amazing podcast. I am Sunni T Connor. I'm the author of almost 7 books. I'm working on my 7th book. I'm a motivational speaker. I've spoken in many prisons as well as colleges and schools. And so my whole concept of living is just to bring unconventional thoughts to our melanated people.
Yes, love that.
Support it. Love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know we've been working on this for a little bit, so we finally made it. Shout out to us.
Shout out to us.
You got cheers every time. You can just keep it going. You just need a little pep rally. Yeah, it's wild times, and they keep getting wilder apparently. So we can go ahead and talk about this episode, coping with the lack of closure. And this is like a multi-layered beast that I'm excited to see where this conversation goes. But we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, we'll have our social media moment. And we'll wrap it up with weekly recommendations. So, ladies, what does closure mean to you?
Oh. Well, I can start with that.
Go ahead, boo.
So I think having good closure is kind of like having a clear as possible understanding as to why things may have ended. And with that, the learning of how to no longer feel any kind of emotional attachment to, or any pain or any anger towards that person or situation. And it's really only in that closure have you achieved a new form of new and healthy relationships, both within yourself and with others and in future instances.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
That was fly.
I mean, that was like a perfect answer.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Straight to the point.
And that's why, what did I call you, Kelly? Okay.
Classy Kelly. Spell
Classy
check.
Kelly. She's
Office
always
check.
here. She's ready to go. Well, yes, I think that is literally perfect, because that's what one of the questions that I had for us is like, what is good closure? And I think that's like an important definition to really break down for people, because some people think closure is, for some people, it's physical, where they feel like they physically need to have sex or kiss or touch with that last person or whatever it may be.
That one last hurrah.
And that's not my vibes, but you know, if that's how you handle things, power to you. Whatever keeps you out of jail and keep on the good path that you're supposed to be on. But like, closure to me is more of an emotional and mental thing.
I agree with that. I definitely agree that it's more of a mental thing, because before you can shut that door on that situation or that relationship, you have to mentally let it go. Like, you have to mentally be in a space of, I no longer want to pursue this. I'm going to be okay with this door shutting and never being open. And I think that's a big part of closure, is to understand that you don't keep opening and shutting that door. You know, closure is actually closing it and understanding that there's no possibility of it opening again, whether that be with a friendship, a relationship, or anything. Because if you're going to go back and forth, then it's really not closure, you know? Yeah.
Especially if there's no growth. Like, that's the part of, like, growth is for yourself, but also with that other person. Because if y'all gonna keep going back and forth, neither of y'all are growing. Y'all are staying stagnant. You are saying on how your mindset is, and they saying on how theirs is, and none of y'all are changing, learning, doing nothing. Y'all are literally just there. I don't want to be that. I want to keep growing and like elevating myself and my mental space and my heart. And I can't just be sitting back thinking about, oh, what is he thinking about me, or what's she talking about, and da da da. And that's a lot of energy.
Yeah, but a lot of the times in situations like that, what you find is that people aren't in a stage of acceptance in order to accept that this breakup is happening or we have gone our separate ways. Whether it's like we always say, this is not only pertaining to romantic relationships. This could be your friendships, your family bonds, anything like that. It's getting to a place where you accept that you can no longer be in each other's lives and also being okay with it. As in my personal experience, when it comes to closure, I'm a person who necessarily doesn't need closure. I am sadly very good at detaching myself from people and not needing closure. So I think it sometimes becomes a personality thing where if you are more emotionally, if your emotions are very, very deeply involved with things, yes, you are going to need closure when it comes to it. And a lot of the times that's what I see, that people need the emotional closure to say that, did I do something wrong? Was I wrong? And it's usually a I thing. It's not usually a we thing. It's usually like, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? Like, was I not good enough? And those are the questions that people usually need to have answered during that closure phase. And then sometimes the other person is like, it's not you, it's legit just me.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone is okay with the it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
But sometimes that is the reality of it. It's not you.
Well, to me, like, yeah, like I've had to realize as I've let people go, or the people have let me go, I've had to realize that the outcome would not have changed. The
Right.
shoulda, coulda, woulda wasn't gonna save that scenario
Right.
from ending,
Mm-hmm.
because clearly we both decided to choose our actions how we did, and we were perfectly content with it. And now we have to be content with the ending.
Yeah.
I think also what helps is to accept that seasons come and they go.
Yep.
I honestly feel like as people, we hold on to memories more than anything. You know, you can have this friend from high school and you're like, oh, that was my girl. We used to do this and we used to do that. But like, where are you now? What vibration are you on now? What energy does she bring to your life now? And so you can outgrow people, and that could be the end of that relationship, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, it works that way in nature. You know, spring comes, then fall, and then the leaves fall off the trees and new ones come, and you can and you
Can't
can
wait.
get, you know, you can get new friends, you can get new boyfriends, you can get new relationships. I think that is really, society puts on us that this is like a end all, like loyalty. I think loyalty is like a word that drives me insane because people stay in bad situations for so long based on loyalty. And it's like, no, be loyal to yourself. This no longer feels good, you know. This isn't fun anymore. So I'm gonna close that out. I'm not gonna need a lot of validation or any type of closure from that other person. I'm gonna ask myself, which I talk to myself a lot, okay?
Yeah, me too.
Like, if you're not talking to
I'm the
yourself,
only
you're
reason
not
I'm not in
growing.
jail.
Yeah.
I'm the only reason I haven't killed somebody, you know?
Right.
It's
Keyword,
all
I'm
me.
not in jail.
You got that
I haven't
rational
slapped a
train of
bitch
thought.
today. Like, we are our only
Listen,
referees.
Exactly. You're
listen.
your own mediators. Like,
I'm serious. And so you can tell people who don't have a relationship with themselves, you know. Soon as something happened, you're going to call somebody and ask their advice. Like, you need to ask yourself advice first. Like, how does this feel? How does being around this person make me feel? And you don't need any closure if it feel bad. That's it. I'm washing my hands. I'm not going to be in this. I'm not going to be in this scenario any longer. I don't want this part of my reality. It doesn't feel good, you know?
you know what? As you're talking about loyalty, I think loyalty and history, those two things play a huge part in why people stay in one-sided relationships. It's because you know, especially our people, and it's so sad that we are taught to be loyal to people and hope that they're going to be loyal to us at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not
even
getting
just
that,
people, but
like things in general,
ingrained. Our parents literally tell us, "Oh, you need to stay with a company for blah 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 for blah 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 reasons that all tied to you have to be loyal to your company, and they're loyal to you." No, the fuck they're not.
Yeah,
it's like people aren't, like, people in general are just terrible. Sorry to say it,
but it's like it comes to a point of recognizing that and accepting that. Just it goes back to just accepting things. That's literally how I feel about it. And I feel like once you can't accept anything, you won't have any type of closure, whether it's actually closure within yourself or with other people.
Yeah, that entire ride or die culture is
very
toxic.
I'm sorry.
It's very toxic. And the faster we can like drop that, we would start expanding, you know, because that goes back to us just thinking in such a limited way. And it's hard to break those thought patterns because they've been part of our existence for so long. But it's really important, as much as we can, if we can reach people, to just allow those thought patterns to dissipate. Like, you can let that go. You don't have to think so limited, and you don't have to put rules to things either. There are no rules. You're on this planet for a little bit of time, mind you, to do what the fuck you want to do. And anytime you're not doing that, you're doing a disservice to your soul that came to this planet to experience life, literally. So it doesn't matter if it's a relationship or if it's a friendship or whatever the case may be. You can let that go and keep on flowing. Like, you can let that go and keep on evolving into a higher version of yourself. So I'm really, really big on that, like not holding on to toxic situations, you know. And it's family too, you know. I'm going to put it out there, because
I'll do that right now. We can have a whole conversation about family, okay?
Because family comes with love. So you know, it's just like that phone call, you see that number on the call ID and you're like,
I'm not answering it.
It's like you already know what that phone call is going to be about. So that's why it's so draining and exhausting, especially when you see certain numbers on your phone. It's just like,
or Facebook messages, because that's where they like to hit you up.
Like, you just got to give it that eye roll. You're just like, do I want to deal with this right now?
Oh, not just the eye roll, it's the block and delete for me, because if I didn't answer you the first 5 times, I'm not going to answer these last 30. No, I don't want to talk to you.
Especially
you serve no purpose in my life.
Especially when people start to build patterns with you. I think that's like the worst part about it. When you start to build patterns with people and people start to realize that you're only coming to me for X thing or Y thing. That's literally it. You don't come to me for anything else, not to check up on me. If you got kids, you don't even call to check up on my kids. It's literally you focused or focused on something that you need from me. And that's a lot of the times I find with family, it's always something that they want.
It's superficial.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because
and even family, if that's just and even if it's just to vent. So I've become the person. I'm not good. I've realized I'm not a good person to vent to anymore, because I'm just not on that low vibration. I don't understand your problems. And it's weird, because I understand your problems because I used to be there, but I'm just trying to figure out, why are you 60 and still there? Like, why am I still trying to talk you out of that? Like, why are you still worrying about a bill that's going to come every month for the rest of your life? Like, I can't help you calling me complaining about little petty things, because that's what they feel like to me. And so now I'm just like, if I don't answer, that family member will call someone else and vent to somebody that's more on their vibration, that could just be like, oh yeah, girl, me too. Because I'm not there. So I can't bring myself down to come to you. And that's been the hardest part on my journey, losing people, because we're no longer in the same space, you know. And that's why I've used closure for that. Like, I've just been like, oh, I'm closing this chapter. You know, we're no longer in that space anymore.
And that applies to like everybody. Like I don't have the energy for it. Like, the being stressed about things that are going to happen inevitably. I'm not I'm not doing it. Like, being stressed about bills. Why am I stressed about that? I know how much I make. I make sure I make enough to pay my bills and have a little something extra. Great. Keep it pushing. I don't need to worry about it. Groceries, I make sure that's in the budget as well. I want to account for things and make sure I'm prepared. And if I'm prepared for it, I'm not stressing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like to
doing
call
the
myself.
cycle of the baby daddy and the boyfriend, ex-boyfriend who got 5 baby mamas. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Why are you still in that cycle? You need to close that door and walk the fuck away.
And if you know you got too many bills to pay, that means you need to get more jobs.
Or you need to reduce your bills.
Or you need to reduce your bills.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the amount of people who pay bills for other people, and granted, I'm on that list. Somebody pays a bill for me, but they should. And that's fine. But, like, there's people, like my boyfriend, when we got together, he was paying his sister's phone bill. First of all, hold up. These bitches is married. That ain't my problem. You need to cut that shit off.
Yeah.
I'm still in my parents' family plan. They ain't kicked me off yet, so
I
ain't
still
going
am
nowhere.
too, and I'm not.
Going
I told him,
until they have that conversation.
Give me a month, and that's perfectly fine. You can cut me off. I get it. Like, it's a bill you don't want to pay. I'm with you. Just give me a month, and I'll be ready. I'll be good to go. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm not like to me, like, for like when I've had lack of closure, there's of course been some relationships, but like romantic, but the ones that stung the most were friendships, because it's just like, yo, I'm here to be a friend to you, and you're not willing to help me learn and grow as a friend by telling me what the problem is, or what the issue is. And don't get it twisted, some issues are theirs, but some issues I could fix. I want to fix.
Yeah.
But you as a friend, if you cut me off and don't give me the opportunity to even get any of it, that hurts, because I'm just like, yo, I could be potentially a better person. Once again, some things are just some motherfuckers' problems. But if I could be a better person, why wouldn't you want to tell me that? Because it's honesty is hard. But that's just my gripe.
No, but there is situations in friendships where you have stated how you feel about something, but it's up to that person whether they want to actually listen to it or not, or actually learn something from that or not. And if it's a cycle and the cycle keeps going where you're saying something and nothing's changing, I don't see what's wrong with just walking the fuck away, closing the door.
Yeah, and everyone's not capable of being the friend that you want them to be. It's not even all about something is wrong with you, or you know, they can help you be a better person by telling you the truth about the situation. They're not even capable of giving them much of themselves to you as a friend. And so sometimes that's why that closure needs to come about as well, because it's not always you or even a situation that happened. It's just they're not capable of being the friend that you would need. Because I don't need a friend that's going to loan me money, you know, but people need me to be that kind of friend for them. You know, people ask me for money and things like that, right? But I don't need that kind of friendship. I've never asked anyone for money. I've always made it work. So that's not my love language with friendships, you know. And I don't need a friend that I can call every 5 minutes to ask for advice or vent to. But I need a friend that if I'm having something, show up, you know, if this is my book signing or something. So that's the type of friendship that I need. And so that maybe that person isn't capable of giving me that, but they can gossip with me, you know. And that's why I'm like,
there are friends who are just category friends. Like, they go into this bucket. Like, this is my friend. This is my Halloween friend. This is my I want to be a bad bitch walking down the street friend. Like, that's just kind of life. Like,
they go in categories. But sometimes we be wanting more out of that bad bitch friend, and she's not capable of it, you know.
No, she's trying to live the bad bitch life. That's it.
Yeah, she might can help me with my makeup or something, but you know, she's not about to give me any business advice. She's just not that friend, you know.
And even those friendships I'm fine with. I've accepted those. It's just and this is just a me thing, because I deal with my own regrets of things, because that's one of my side effects of lack of closure. I regret not being able to ask the questions in the time. And that doesn't even mean that I can get the answer, because people still gonna lie, even though I think that's the stupidest and biggest waste of energy I've ever lived through in my life. But people gonna lie. And that, you know what? And to me, if you don't like me, there's no reason to lie. But if you still want to give that energy to me, even though I'm trying to have an honest, open conversation with you, then that's also a form of closure, because I've put the energy to you and you didn't even open the box.
Yep. Whereas, like, you said what you needed to say, and if there's no reciprocation on that, then it is what it is. Yeah. And I feel you on that.
I'm good.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. I'm okay with walking away. Like, walking away is my thing. I gotta walk away dancing, everything. I'm like, this shit ain't working out. I'm about to go to the left. Like, that feels amazing. Okay, I'm bopping to the left. I'm not even walking over there sad. I'm like, okay, that season is over. And mentally thinking about life as seasons and beginning and endings, meaning, like, the one thing that life gives us is we're going to die. It's like the one truth that no one can debate, because we debate about politics and religions and this and that it's not debatable. It's the one truth that we get. And so knowing that, I'm real acceptable to seasons as well. I'm real acceptable to flow in the way that nature flows, because it all comes to an end. And I'm okay when it comes to an end. But I've also dealt with a lot of death situations that I think help make me be okay with things ending,
Yeah. I feel that.
When you mention the seasons change, which I love that analogy all the time, I hear it, but it makes me think of, like, how when people talk about your life in college and going through grade school and all that kind of stuff, and they always say how your college best friends are going to be your friends for life. And I've always just chuckled at that statement, because that ain't true. Literally, the only person who came out of college that I'm still friends with is the one who's on this podcast right now, which is Melissa. And and I never once went through going to school and making friends as my main priority. And with anything in life, I've moved and lived in 8 states my entire life. And so me moving and traveling to different places since I was 2 years old, I've been able to, like Kashana said, I can drop you very easily. It's not a problem. But I feel like maybe I am the cause of some people's who did not get closure, because I didn't say goodbye. There wasn't this huge, like, oh, I'm gonna miss you, da, da, da. Let's keep in touch. Here's my phone number, here's my email, all this kind of thing. It's like, okay, I had to move. Let me move on to the next. And if I was the cause, sorry about that. But I'm so easily disconnected, and I don't need you. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't. And I like to call myself, like, a pessimist realist. And when you mention how death is just inevitable, it's true. Like, for me, it may sound very dark and cold to some people, but, like, I feel like death is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen, because
I agree.
It's like you can just free yourself. There's no other drama that can happen. You're just release of some toxic energies. When somebody dies, I know in my family, death is very easy to talk about, because I can say this right now. My parents, they've told me, just cremate me. I don't want to go in the grave. I don't want to have the ceremony. Like, death is like, just burn me up and send me away. Like, it's more like a joke, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And it can only. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. And it's just a thing where, if you know it's going to happen, what you can control. But all this other stuff that's very petty, and it's a come and go rotating door, like a rotating coworkers coming in and out of a job. It is what it is, and I don't have the time for that to just stick with me the entire time I'm on this earth.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the easiest ways to look at death like a joke is just to remember that you're only here for a short experience. Like, that's something that I remind myself. There's nothing that's serious here. This is like a game we're playing. It's really a fucking joke. And you're supposed to be playing it with the most risk and ambition. You're supposed to take those jumps in life. If you're looking for this expansive career or entrepreneur or whatever it is that you're doing, you're supposed to jump and know that the parachute is going to open, because the worst case scenario is that the game is over. Anything else that happens in the game, as we all know from things that we've been through, it too shall pass, right?
Yeah.
Nothing stays forever. Even if, you get that closure from that relationship or you don't get it, eventually it's going to pass. You're not going to dwell your whole life like, Dad, I really wish I would have got that closure from that guy. You're going to have a new boyfriend or a new husband or whatever the case may be, or a new friendship with a new girl or whatever the case may be. So it's like just reminding yourself, hey, this is a temporary experience. So why am I not taking those jumps? Because I'm only get to be here for 80 years, maybe 100. Sometimes you only get to be here for 40 years.
Yeah.
There's people that pass away that's 20 years old, and all the time she spent 20 years being afraid to quit a job, or afraid to move to a new state. Like you said, you traveled a lot, and I just think it's so important to know, hey, I was never going to be here forever. So when other people leave, instead of grieving for years and years and years, your time is coming too.
Yeah.
We're all leaving. So admire the time that you had with these people and smile upon it. And you can have your memories, you can have your tears and everything, but you're going to go too. And that has really helped me. I'm telling y'all, it's helped me tremendously.
Since you're talking about that, I think something that has helped me out through through majority of my 20s is reminding myself that other people's opinions do not matter, especially if I ain't asked for it. If you're not feeding me, fucking me, or paying my bills, it don't matter. And I feel like a lot of times, especially us as women, we allow people to shame us way too often in the choices that we make. Whether it's wanting to move to another state, start a different relationship, pick a different career, get out of a career, whether you want to just be a stay-at-home mom if you got the means to do that, or whatever the case is. A lot of women are shamed. And I don't feel like you should allow anybody to shame you for whatever decisions you make, because they don't do anything for you, especially if these people do absolutely nothing for you and don't aspire to live a life like you or make the same decisions as you. So I do believe that, like you said, certain things and certain people should be seasonal and it should be conditional. I'm a person who believes in love with condition. I don't believe in unconditional love. I feel like every single love is conditional, except for the love that you have for your child. I feel like that's the most unconditional love that you'll ever get or ever feel.
Until my child becomes a serial killer, and then that's
yeah, unless you start making some fuck shit choices in life, then it's just like I think I may have to disown you.
If you start raping somebody, it's conditional.
I'm not gonna be the mama. Oh my gosh, that's not how I raised him. First of all, it's not.
If you're
and that's not my son no more. He a grown man.
Listen, if I see my child at 8 years old,
that's God child,
right?
Or the devil, whoever's up there,
and you're over here cracking the necks of cats, that is the first sign of a sociopath or a psychopath.
First of all,
I'm good.
Dropping that kid off at the fire station.
No. You're being admitted. I'm sorry, you're being admitted. I'm not dropping you off at the fire station so you can become somebody else's problem and society's problem. You're about to get dropped off at a mental institution. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's it. There's been too many true crime cases where you hear that these signs start at 8 years old, 10 years old, and these parents are just like, "Oh, he's fine. He's just a little." No,
my boyfriend and I have decided already. If we see any signs of that, it's a wrap. I'm not doing it. We just start over and just keep pushing. Like I'm not.
If you're 5 and you're painting X's over eyes on pictures, I'm taking it as a sign. I'm sorry. I'm taking it as a sign.
I'm taking notes. Sending it to somebody so they know the notes. So it's not just me in this.
Yeah, no, but
anyways, that's
but back on the train. Back on the train. As a person who doesn't really require closure with a lot of things, I do feel like Sunni said earlier, it's not allowing people to just make that decision for you. It's not allowing people to shame you, like I said just now, because I feel like back in my earlier days, if I made a decision, I would feel like some type of shame if I had to tell my parents or tell my friends or something like that. But now as I've gotten older, it's like I don't need the validation from those people. Like, I can get it from myself to say that I'm making a good choice for myself. This is not about anybody else but me. Unless my decision is going to affect somebody else, like my man or something like that, then I will go to him specifically to make sure that this isn't like a altering situation for the both of us or whatever the case is. But earlier, I do believe in the seasons. I do believe that certain people are only here for certain phases of your life. And I feel like that is something that we need to recognize overall. That sometimes history doesn't depict how powerful a friendship is, a relationship is, or anything like that. Because you can know somebody for like 17, 20 years of your life, and they could have been the same shitty person they were back then as they are today. And just the mask of history just hides all of that from you. And I feel like sometimes we have to figure out when to recognize that history does not mean anything at all, because
no, the current person that they are is
what's important. And at some point when you do get older, I do believe that certain people stay in your life depending on how they fit your life or if you're living a similar life. And in this stage right now where I'm at in life, I want the people around me and the people that are in my life to at least be doing something similar to what I'm doing, or going through similar phases that I'm going through. Because at least this way I know that if I do hit like a bump in the road or something, I can go to these people and be like, hey, I just need your opinion on something. Is this weird? Is this wrong? Is this off? Or something like that. Because I feel like if I'm having a friend who's still, let's say, running the streets or whatever the case is, and I'm about to
partying
settle
at
down,
30
like,
every
how can you
single
relate to
weekend.
me? How can we relate to each other? There's no relation there for me. So I feel like recognizing that people like that are no longer fit for whatever season you're going through is very important. And I feel like sometimes not being on the same, like you said, vibration, the same energy level, the same wavelength as people can be detrimental to you, especially if you're looking for growth and change. So recognizing all of that is very important, because there's people, even if they don't mean to, even though they're not malicious about it, can bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can be even holding them people back from whatever great potential that they need to achieve with themselves as well. And is recognizing that, honey, none of us ain't as hot shit as we think we are. When we all take a shit, it all stinks. So I think that's the end of my piece.
Thank you, Miss Kishana. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Well, I will say, and with agreeing with everything that we've talked about, like looking back at my experiences with lack of closure, like I'm definitely the more emotional of our trio, and as I'm getting older, unfortunately, it's getting worse. So not looking forward to that. But having been an emotional person who still is, according to even people I meet now, like I'm very friendly in person, but like even some people are like, you kind of cold. I'm just like, it just, having experienced heartbreaks in relationships, having experienced heartbreaks in my career and my friendships, it's like there's only but so much heartbreak you can keep letting affect you.
Yeah.
If it's the same cycle of people who keep leaving your life, like the selfish people who just only want you for a specific person, I can't keep mourning those people. If they choose to come into my life and then leave, then have a good day. I wish you the best. Kuna Matata, all the things, but clearly we're not compatible. Like I'm looking for a friendship and you're looking for a person to help you. Well, I'm not your contractor, so I'm gonna keep pushing. But like going through all those heartbreaks and like taking time to be with myself has gotten me to the point now where I'm like, I felt like I was telling people to cut people off when I was 20 and block them. Yeah. But now I'm like even worse, because I'm just like, I don't have time for it. If it's not helping me in my relationship, it's not helping myself, my future goals, and all the things I'm trying to accomplish in this life, I'm not going to let it upset me. And I'm not going to let it take that energy away from something else I could be giving it to.
Yeah.
True.
Because
Yes.
there's some soul sucking ass people out there. Oh
Mm.
God.
Oh yes. Ooh.
Oh, I think we were talking about this in a previous episode where Melissa used this as a vent session for me, and she knows how I feel about this because I've dealt with these people like this for a very, very long time.
Same.
I don't consider myself an empath. I just consider myself as a very nice and polite person unless you take me somewhere else. And I always and over time I realized that I attract people who are very soul sucking and people who feel like they need to tell me their whole entire life story. And maybe it's because I'm a person who's more guarded about my personal self and more it takes a lot for me to open up to anybody, and Melissa can vouch for this because even my man has said it to her, like I have to pull her teeth just to get like certain things out of her. And it's not me being malicious, it's just how I am. I'm just guarded with certain things and I'm guarded with my emotions. I'm not the best at being vulnerable, but I attract people who are very good at being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just, and I take it as maybe that they feel like if they share with me, I'll share with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I attract a lot of oversharers. And I'm just like, oh God, this is so soul sucking. I just need to walk away. I need to walk away.
Well, one reason you may attract oversharers is because you're not a sharer.
Yeah, that's the conclusion that I came to.
Yeah, and so it's easy for them to overshare with you because you're not going to take the mic.
Right.
You're not going to take the mic from them and stop them in the middle of their story and then share your whole life, so they feel comfortable to have that in you because they know that they're going to get that undivided attention, and people yearn for attention. Yeah. So if they can sit there and tell you their whole life story and you're not even going to interrupt them with your whole life story, you're the perfect candidate for them to attract in you, for them to attract that side of you,
Unfortunately. And I've learned to just like stay the fuck away from those people. Those are majority of the people that I've like X'd out of my life with my no closure having ass are those people, are those soul sucking oversharers, those people who have like the main character energy, those people who are not like good support systems. And that's something that I've realized.
And they never listen. They never listen.
No, not at all. Especially coming closer to my 30s now, like I understand that I am a supportive friend. I don't want to speak to you every day. I don't expect to be spoken to every day. But I still am a support system. And that's what I look for my friendship as well, is to know that if something is happening, I can call you or you can call me and we can support each other through it. That's the type of friendship that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the type of friendships that I had in high school, junior high school, in my early 20s. We don't need to chat and kiki every day. Like if something's happening, is just knowing that someone's there to support you. You don't have to be there physically. You don't have to be there. You could just be there in spirit. As long as I know that if I text you and be like, hey, I need to speak to you right now, are you free? And vice versa, that can happen. That's it. Just be a support system, especially because we too old for this bullshit at this point.
Yeah. Well, that is such our personality. INTJ personality being
I like my solitude. It's not my fault. I've always been this person. I've always enjoyed my alone time, my solitude, that peace and quiet, those moments that I get just to like think and talk to myself. I like that.
Oh, that's some of my best times, in my day. I can sit by myself and I get my greatest thoughts and everything. Like I don't need to be surrounded around people all the time. And I'm just like you. Like I talk to my best friend maybe once a month. And she knows I'll fly right over to the East Coast to her if she need me in a drop of a dime, but we don't talk every day. We don't talk every week even, but I know that's one phone call that's going to always pick up, and she know vice versa. And for us, that's enough,
And I think knowing that is important, and having those people like that is very important.
Because you have to balance it all. There's no way we can give everybody who we love our attention consistently and constantly to that level. I mean, outside of this podcast, same thing. We talk maybe once, twice a month. What? It's just we don't have time.
Yeah.
Like life is busy. and it's just getting busier by the day.
Yeah, we're adults. We have a
Yeah,
life.
we're adults.
Like, we got bills to pay.
Yep.
I mean, that sums it up. We're adults.
My brother was laughing because I kept every once in a while he'll text me and I'll be like, yeah, I just came from adulting, like running errands or some stuff. And he's like, I find that to be the most hilarious statement that you say to me. And I'm just like, I don't have any other way to describe it. It's just adult bullshit that I have to do that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Well, for those of y'all who are still allowing lack of closure to affect you, it's normal, it's life, but at some point you have to accept, as we've all said, that life will continue on, and we would hope you would want to continue with it and grow with it and experience things and not living in fear or regret or anger, denial, whatever it is. If you're like me, you have the circling thoughts where in the middle of the night you just can't stop thinking through the scenarios over and over and over. Yeah, no, shut it off. Take a ZQL. Go to bed.
Gosh.
What?
A ZQL.
I mean, listen, okay? Sometimes they need to shut up. They just need to shut up so I can go to sleep. And, you know, so we can all be copacetic because rest is required for humans. Who knew? But, and also I do want to say on the death thing, death to me is like, I agree with Kelly where to me, it should be celebrated.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be so mourn and moon and gloom. Like, don't show up to my funeral wearing all black. Please do not. Put me in all black because I'm gonna look good. But y'all don't need to come. Like, I honestly wanted to be a carnival celebration. Like, go buck wild, have a good time, get drunk, have good food, say all the good things, and keep pushing. Like, because at the end of the day, that person's no longer suffering on this earth, because all of us are suffering in some capacity as you're living, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, task on your list, knee pains. Like, we're all suffering in some capacity. And if as long as you're living your life how you deem it to be viable and worth it, I'm perfectly fine. Of course, I want to get some things done tomorrow, but, you know, if it happens tomorrow, I feel like I've lived a good life. I have a man who loves me. I have friends who care about me, family who will do anything for me. I'm good.
Yeah. And I will say with that too, because I know some people could turn it another way. We're talking about if a person dies and they have had no type of interruption into how they died. Now, if they tragically died in like an accident or it just came out randomly and it was like a murder or something like that, then that's a different way where I can see you understanding where, okay, you didn't get any kind of closure because you don't know how this happened. It just came up randomly and sporadically. So I can see how you need to cope and go through your little process. But if this person literally, you saw it coming, it was a gradual thing, or it was just a natural death and your person that you love and care about has gone through their life in a copacetic way, I think you should just relish in that and just be comfortable with it. But everybody deals with death differently, so whatever you have to say.
Yes. Ultimately, though, you do have to find closure in it. It doesn't matter how you deal with it. If you want to be the person that lay on the floor and roll all around and cry and punch the wall and scream and don't eat for 3 days, and if you're on this planet, you have to live. Okay, so even if that person passed on, you have to find life in living again. You have to, or you're not going to be here. Everything has to live. The plants are living, the birds are living. You know, you're going to have to continue to live. So you have to find that closure in that person being gone as well. But the way that you do it, you can go about it any way you want. You can get depressed if you want, you know, and I'm not saying that in a malicious way, because as I've spoken earlier, I've dealt with a lot of death. I've went through different experiences to get here, to be this bold, to say I can handle death better, you know, because I've dealt with a whole lot of death. But it doesn't matter which way I dealt with it. I've dealt with it losing weight, stressing myself out, crying every day. That person was part of my everyday life. I can't believe that happened. It was so abrupt. It was so fast. It didn't give me time to say goodbye. You know, I've dealt with it that way, and I've dealt with it where I saw it coming, and all different kinds of ways that you experience death. I came to the same conclusion every single time. I have to get closure with it. That person isn't even here anymore to give me the closure. And no one is going to ever give me the answers. And just for my end and take on this closure subject is there is no answers to be given. So if you're sitting there waiting for that friend to tell you what you did wrong, or for that person who died to tell you why they died, or, you know, or for God to give you this answer of why they took your father away, or whatever the case may be, there is no answer. There is no answer. You have to just do what's best for you to get through these moments in life. They're going to keep coming up. There's going to always be problems. You got to talk to yourself, find a quick solution, and keep it moving, you know? And that's my last take on closure.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah, I feel like you ended that right there,
Will. Yeah. The last thing I want to say is that, in the words of Mr. Benjamin Franklin, the only thing in life that's certain is death and taxes.
Yeah.
Goddamn taxes.
Couldn't be even more true.
Goddamn taxes.
Taxes, Ooh, all right. Well, speaking of death, I wanted to talk about, for our social media moment, our lovely, terrible human being, another terrible person on this earth. The nurse who murdered 6 people, actually, in California recently. If you've seen the video, I'm sorry, it is terrifying. But her name is Nicole Linton, and she is being charged by the Los Angeles County for the death of 6 people, including a pregnant woman, and as well as some manslaughter, because she is truly grossly negligent. If you've seen the video, she literally was going in a normal, regular intersection. This is not a highway. This is not a freeway. This was a traditional intersection. It was like 6 lanes wide. This bitch was going 90 miles per hour. And she did not have the light. Let's also just clarify this. She was going 90 miles and probably what was a 35-mile speed limit. And she crashed into a lot of people, causing immediate fire and the death of an entire family and some other individuals who unfortunately now have, their families now have to deal with lack of closure. So, yeah. The same woman has had at least 13 other instances with cars, all dealing with hospitalizations of everyone involved. And it was one other thing I wanted to point out. There was no blood work was done. She was under no influence. She was not on drugs. She was not drunk. She was technically by a drug test. She was sober. So, yeah. So anyone, and she was not arguing with a boyfriend. She actually lost a boyfriend / fiance about it was 2017 or 18. So, and she was a traveling nurse. So she didn't actually even live permanently in LA. She was just on call there until she was going to go to Hawaii next.
Yeah.
So the reasons why are null and void to me, but I'm going to just stop talking now and let y'all.
I don't even know what there is to say. Like,
do anyone think she was like trying to commit suicide or something? Because she clearly was not planning on stopping at the red light. You know, the other cars were there parked. I watched the video and they were there parked. So it was clear it was a red light and she had no intention to even stop at it. So it makes you wonder, was she trying to end her life or something? You know?
Yeah.
But even
one article I found. Go ahead, please.
No, but even to that, it's yes, we understand that, you know, taking your own life is, in some religions, it's an act against God, like it's a selfish act, whatever the case is. But as cynical as this sounds, because I do consider myself a cynic at times, it's like, do what you want to do with yourself. You're an adult, you make whatever decisions you want to make for yourself, mental health or not, but don't involve other people. And that's the part that just drives me insane about this, especially I'm sure we're all driving every single day, and it's like
it could have been anyone.
Yeah, right. At the drop of the hat, it could be us, it could be anybody else in the world, but it's just like, how do you, what in your head, like how are the gears working up there for you to just drive yourself into a middle of into the middle of an intersection and involve other people in this?
Well, the gears are not working. That's the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, see, and I also feel like people tend to like make an excuse or something like that. We all have crazy fucking thoughts all the time. You are accountable. You are accountable for your shit. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what you've been through. I don't care about your trauma story. I don't care if this happened to you when you were young. We all have a story, okay? There's things that go on in our mind that we have to process over and over again. And if you chose not to process something and go through an intersection 90 miles per hour, there's no excuse except your own accountability. You
made decisions.
Yeah.
You made decisions, and that's the thing. We have choices all day long. And I'm so big on that, because even this podcast, we had a choice to be on here, right? We could have been doing something else. We had a choice to brush our teeth this morning. You could go to the gym in the morning or go to the gym at night. You could be vegetarian today. You could eat meat. You could do this. You could do. I mean, literally, you make about little. If I had to come up with a random number, you have to make at least 1,000 choices a day. And they're small choices. Am I going to tie my shoe? No, I'm going to put those shoes on. They don't have shoestrings. These are stupid choices. These are stupid choices. Am I going to charge my phone right now? No, I'll charge it later, and then the phone die. I mean,
I tried to charge it earlier. Like this.
I mean, I should have charged it earlier. I didn't make a better choice. You literally make choices all day long, and you are accountable for your shit. I'm sorry. I'm tough on people, because if all I've been through and I'm able to still smile and I'm able to do this, I don't want to hear anyone say a story. Get your shit together, make a better choice. You chose to put your foot on that pedal and go 90 miles per hour. You chose to end people's life. You didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And there is no excuses or I lost it for a moment. I don't want to hear it. I just feel we all have a moment to think. And that's what our brain has given us as a gift of being a human. And you chose to make a different choice. Period.
Right. And as a person who works in mental health and works with 12 people on a daily basis who all have serious mental health condition, that is the one thing I preach before they do anything. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. And they always choose wisely because they understand that there is consequences to every action. Because if you don't drill that into people, people will never follow by it. People will never understand it. You just don't
they think they're the rules of the exception.
Right, exactly. And it's funny because as you're saying that, Sunny, I actually had a conversation with my nephew yesterday as I was driving him to his football practice. He's 11 years old. And we were talking, and I'm just like, listen, people can choose to be good and people can choose to be bad. Other than that, in life, everything is a choice, and every choice is a decision that you make on your own. You have a brain, you have free will, and you live in one of the most freest and liberalist countries in the whole entire world, despite what everybody wants to fucking say. It is the truth. Here, you can make whatever decision you want to make whenever you want to make it, and no one's going to stop you from doing it. So, you make choices. And yes, you are right. There is no excuse. There is no excuses for anybody who cannot make a decision for themselves. And yes, I do feel like we should have some type of sympathy and show some sort of empathy for people who do have mental health issues. But at the same time, it should be to a certain extent. Because you're still a functioning person in society, because you have the same job as anybody. You drive a car just like anybody else next to you. You're not bound to an institution. You're not bound to a group home. You're not bound to a psychiatrist chair every week. You're not. So you do have free will.
First of all, she's a traveling nurse.
She's a traveling nurse. She got good goddamn sense.
She makes bank.
So I understand from the outside that right now we may sound like a bunch of assholes, but sometimes some people have to be a bunch of assholes. We've all been through shit. We've all been down in the gutter. We've all been through something that has
We've all had moments where we could have killed a motherfucker and gone to jail, or just killed a motherfucker and just kept it moving. But we chose not to. We chose not to slap a bitch.
Yeah, and we've all had gas on our chest where we might say, "Oh," and want to hit the gas pump a little bit, a little bit stronger. Maybe on a highway. I've never seen the likes of someone driving like that in the city. Like, I don't even know what your intentions were. I can only come up with maybe suicide because there's no explanation
other explanation that makes sense.
I mean, she knows, but I mean, for us to try to figure that out, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Well, like the first article that I pulled up when I was looking for just more facts on this, it was diving into her past and like what she's been through and and I get that. I get that everybody has a past that has led them to the today that they are, but at the end of the day, this bitch has had 13 other instances. Number one, she shouldn't have had a license, in my opinion. I think over 3 instances is too much for me. I don't think you need to be on the road anymore. You might need to go to get a scooter. But 13? That's ridiculous. She shouldn't have a license. She shouldn't be able to drive a car in any state in the U.S. I don't understand why she's been allowed to get this. And I know there's ways to maneuver around it, but whoever, I think Texas is where technically her home is. Yeah. Whoever gave her license, they are at fault also.
Yeah, I was just about to say that if all these instances, let's say they happened in Texas, they're technically not reported, at least from my understanding, under other states' DMV registration. So if she went to Los Angeles and got a license in Los Angeles, they would have never known about what happened in Texas, especially if she wasn't like charged or arrested for any of it. So I don't know.
I don't know how it works when you're a traveling nurse, but they keep labeling Texas next to her name. So Texas is somehow tied to her.
She probably just had her Texas license, because when you're a traveling nurse, you don't get a new ID in all these different states.
No. You just take a different
you kind of stay in like those Airbnb for nurses type of things. And I know a traveling nurse, and so that's what he does. He kind of
I know when it comes to like your like those licensure boards, like Kelly's very familiar with it, like with EMS, and I know it works the same way for nurses and traveling doctors, is that you take a national test to get a national license, so you can basically practice all over the country.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not talking about her nursing.
I'm talking
about her driver's license. She should not have a driver's license.
Then that's what I said.
A job is separate. Like, a job they don't connect. You can get a background check all you want, but they're not going to connect.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
So that's the thing I was assuming, that maybe those
No, I'm not talking about how she got her job.
No.
Motherfuckers are throwing bitches into nursing with no experience. So it's wild out here.
There's a lot of nurses who shouldn't be nurses, and a lot of doctors who shouldn't be doctors.
So I'm not going to even speak to that. Yeah. It's just that bitch should not have a license. California should be suing Texas.
For real though.
They do.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Come down on Ted Cruz, dumbass.
And another reason why I cannot fuck with Texas. And I know people who live there, and that's your choice. That's fine with me. If I hear someone I love is going to Texas, I'm going to have strong opinions, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
Because there's no instance where I'm going to be okay with anyone I love moving to Texas or Florida, respectfully.
I don't care how cheap it is to live there.
Do not give a flying fart. I don't care. Those 2 states are wild to me, and I want no one I love a part of it.
Yeah.
Is it just me? I gotta do some research on Texas and Florida.
Oh, please do.
Oh, yeah. It's
your
terrifying.
eyes better be wide open.
In Florida, if you are tied to a veteran, so like if you're a wife or a child and you graduate high school, they're going to give you a 4-year accreditation degree so you can teach at a school. They're giving it to you. It's free. You don't have to do anything. You only have to do 2 days of in-person training with an active teacher. And that's all you have to do to teach our next generation of kids.
Wow.
So instead of paying people accordingly and not making everything harder for them as teachers with your stupid policies, because you're ignorant as fuck, no, we're just going to do this, and we're just going to put children in to teach our children about how to be better how to get education. Even though a lot of people I know, including myself, don't remember any of their education. Okay.
So sad.
Scary place we live in, y'all.
Scary place. Scary place, but also a very scary place. I think the amount of freedoms we have is what makes it very scary as well.
And the way the justice system is set up, that's the scariest of it all.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to say about this whole issue was, after the fact, I'm a very particular, aware driver. And the job that I have now is I wake up at 2 o'clock and I'm out the door at 3 a.m. And so, as people would say, I'm out when the strippers are out on the street corner. I'm out when the drug deals are happening. And it's pitch black. And I'm in Charlotte also. So we know what happens in Charlotte at that time of night. Yeah. So when I'm driving to work after this whole incident, I'm coming up on intersections and my heart actually skips a beat now, because not that I didn't know that this kind of thing could happen at any given moment, but I'm up at the hours and driving on the road when there are drunk drivers everywhere. And even when I was in EMS, obviously I was doing the night watch shift majority of the time. And for some reason, I knew this could happen, but I was even more like sheltered from it and like knew that maybe it just couldn't faze me, or I had a partner right next to me. But driving in a regular car where you don't have any kind of emergency vehicle lights and sirens that could halt other people, it just makes you more aware that anything could happen. Like anytime I come up to an intersection light, I'm looking triple, quadruple times to make sure nobody's coming left, right in front of me, or shoot, falling from the sky. Anything could happen. Like, because it just wakes you up, and that kind of thing. I know those people on that street had no idea that she was showing up. I mean, that came out of nowhere. And to just literally come to a crash and burn,
especially for the fact that you can tell that light has been green for those people who are going into the intersection for at least a minute or two. And that's a big intersections. And at least any state that I've been in that has big intersections like that, even here in New York, those lights are green for at least 3 minutes on both in both directions. And the amount of cars that were crossing the intersections, and it's very sad. It's so sad to even like think about, especially being a driver. It's like it can happen anywhere, anytime, any state, no matter anything. It's really sad. It's
I mean, I told my boyfriend the other day, so there's an intersection by my house, 2 blocks, where if you're coming towards my house, you have the right of way, and if you're crossing the other part of the intersection, you have to stop. Well, dummy on the bike didn't obey the laws as they're supposed to in the street. So luckily at that intersection, I know people are stupid, so I always do a rolling stop. Luckily I did, because bitch almost lost her fucking life. And I would have been in the right, unfortunately, but it still would have been terrible to hurt another human being. So it's just like, as we've said, there's choices we can make. I know I could just keep speeding through that intersection, but I'm not going to for my life and others.
And although this is a very sad situation, I know it was a family who passed away, like in a car, you know, like a 1-year-old son and a pregnant lady and her boyfriend. And, you know, that was like tremendously sad, and they burned alive. It looks to be that's how they passed. But when I saw it, I immediately had the same fear that you had, like, oh, well, I'm always driving, you know, this could be any of us, you know, because we're just paying attention to what we're doing. You're never expecting something like that to happen. But those also are the moments, and I have to be a little debatable with you, that we don't take on fear either. You know,
yeah, for sure.
Because out of the billions of people that's driving on the road, these incidents don't happen, you know, every second. So we can't start, we can't absorb the fear of what one traveling nurse did, So we still have to, keep living our life and, try not to let our heart race when we get to intersections and things like that, because that's not the masses of what would happen to us as people. Like, that's not going to start happening every 2 seconds out of the day. People are just going to start, jamming through intersections. And so, no, because that's why you have to be careful with the media that we take in, because it could inflict fear on you. Like COVID inflicts fear.
Oh my gosh.
This incident inflicts fear. And so all of these incidences that we're watching as a majority of people, like so many people saw this incident that happened, and so many people are now driving with fear, and that has something that has affected them as their human makeup. Now they have incorporated something that the stranger has done all the way in LA, and they've incorporated that in their reality. And so now they're driving with fear, and we can't do that. That's what we can't do. Like, we can see that happen, we can sympathize, but we can't all take in everything that's happening around the world, And I just had to say that.
Take the fear and turn it into an understanding.
Yeah,
absolutely.
When I see shit like that, like, if that happened to me, it happened. Like, I had nothing to do with it. I was at the intersection I was supposed to be at, going wherever the fuck I was supposed to be going. But you could also take that as there are other humans on the road, and that's the part that like I see people every day with no fear of the understanding that there's other humans on the road. And I'm not saying live your life in fear, but live your life with slight caution. Like, oh, there's a person crossing the street when they have the right of way, even though I have the light. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to stop for pedestrians. Okay, I can't be mad at them for being pissed off I almost hit them, because they have the right of way. Like, you have to take that and like transfer it into something that's actually useful to understanding. Like, the people every day I see that don't understand you're interacting with humans, and you need to communicate with humans and life things, and understanding that there's a human on the other side. There's a human in another car. There's a human walking in the street, going in the store.
You're not out there by yourself.
No, these are not robots. Like, these are living being humans who have families and friends. You have to take life as it is, but you need to also understand that there's other people out there. It's not just us. As much as I want to be selfish and go 90 miles per hour all the time, I don't.
Well, of course we have to implement caution. When I said fear, I was just speaking specifically. I think it was Kay who said she rides at 2 a.m.
Oh yeah.
So I was specifically speaking to that. You said since this incident happened, now you're like at the intersections with your heart beating fast,
Well,
and
I
was
really
saying
like a fear. I'm just saying, like, like after the fact, because I that does not faze me. Like, it really doesn't. But of course, after the fact, it was more like, oh wow, that happened. But you carry on with life. You got time to just stop what
I don't want you shaking at the intersection. I'm like, wait a minute now.
No, I ain't that type of bitch.
No, I'm like, wait a minute now.
Let's
not take in all that fear. We don't need to have you at the intersection shaking now.
No, these girls know. I be doing a whole lot of stuff.
She lives a wilder life than I can even do.
Okay.
No, I agreed with you. I just meant in the sense of there are people out there who take that fear and transfer it into anxiety. And as a person with anxiety, I get that. But there's anxieties of things you can control, and there's anxiety of things you can't control. The can't control, I've learned to let that shit the fuck go. Because that's why so many people have anxiety, because they worry about all this shit that they literally can do nothing about. Like, all these people who want to argue about X, Y, and Z, elemental P, that they have nothing to do with. They're an accountant at some warehouse somewhere and blah, 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 that has nothing to do with whatever politics they're talking about, whatever celebrity that they've never met. Like, y'all are letting too much shit get anxiety. Y'all need to worry about the stuff that you can control, like how you interact with people on an everyday fucking basis. Because people are terrible, as I say again. Sorry, it's been the week of that. It's just like, why are people terrible?
People are terrible.
Damn. Well, hopefully someone sees this as the tragedy that it is and can see the little nuggets of information you can take out of it and how to move forward with that information and not let it hold you back. Do we agree, ladies?
Agreed.
I
Agree.
Sweet. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I know we got lots of things to do today. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up with our weekly recommendations. So this is just anything that you think will help bring some joy or improvement to their lives. And it could be music, movies, TV show advice, whatever you think that can help our listeners. So, ladies, who would like to go first?
Let's let our guest go first. Sunni T. Connor.
Okay. So I'm just going to say, choose yourself first this week. You know, choose yourself first, and not with any guilt. So if it's something that you want to do, choose that. And if people are, if you had obligations to do something else or whatever the case may be, just choose yourself first. Just actually have a conversation with yourself. How does this make me feel? Is this what I really want to do? And choose whatever best option that can work for you this week.
I like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I can bounce right off because mine literally ties to what she just said.
Okay.
Well, going in, take care of yourself. So I was recently sick and I did not rest enough because of all the deadlines and the this and the that and the imposter syndrome. And it made my side effects last longer and I've just overextended myself. And now I need to, as Miss Sunny said, take care of myself. I'm going to figure out a day I can take off before shit really comes off the rails and have a me day because I need it for just my mental sanity. So take care of yourself.
I second that notion.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I actually have a rising artist alert that I want to share with everybody so you can be obsessed with me. Okay, so his name is Jack James, but the spelling of Jack is JVCK. And for the longest, I thought it was like Jivik James, and I was like, well, that's interesting. But he is a British R&B singer-songwriter from across the pond in London. And when I was listening to my Black Girls in Coffee Shops podcast or playlist, this song popped up and I instantly vibed out to, like, I like to say, his effervescent type of musicality. And the song that got me hooked was What You Want. And I'm just literally obsessed. And you can go listen to his 2 EPs. One is called Joyride, which came out last year in 2021. And then his recent one that has just 4 songs on it, but they're amazing. And it's called On the Rocks. So listen to Jack James on all platforms. I'm obsessed. We love his voice. We love his accent. Yes, get on that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Last but not least,
here I am to finish it up. So I have a movie recommendation. It is a movie that I watched last weekend. It is called The Black Phone, and it stars Ethan Hawke, and I think Ethan Hawke is a phenomenal actor. So if you are into horror, thriller type of movies, this is like one of the best movies within that category that I've seen all of this year. It is like a psychological suspense, paranormal thriller, and I was just literally on, like, just sat up the whole time. And I don't want to give it away because if you are a person who doesn't mind paying for a movie, because it is a brand new movie that came out on streaming services, you will have to pay for it. But this is what me and my man like to do on those nights in. We'll pay for a movie and have dinner and watch it. So,
y'all so cute.
If you are into movies in this category and you're a fan of Ethan Hawke, this movie's fucking amazing.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
So yeah.
You said it was called The Black Phone?
The Black Phone, yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I like thriller movies.
Yeah, it's really good because it mixes suspense, thriller, horror, paranormal, like sadistic serial killer type vibes. It's everything. It mixes everything into one. It's really good. and he just plays the shit out of this movie and makes it even better. I think if they put anybody else in here, it wouldn't have been as good, but because of him and his acting, it's phenomenal.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds good. I think a place here in Richmond is actually showing that this weekend.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
try to watch it.
We have this fun little theater, but awesome. Well, I'm gonna let Miss Sunni T Connor give her plug and tell us all about where to find her, all the stuff you're working on. Tell us about it.
First, I have to say this was amazing. Oh my goodness, I had so much fun with you ladies.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yes. Okay, on Instagram, you can find me at Sunny_the author. And I have 6 books, a couple memoirs, a couple suspense books. My latest book is Damien's Secret 2. It's one hell of a ride. And my upcoming book is called Who the Fuck is Society? And it is my first self-help book. It is a book just for us, for our melanated people, and it gets into the concepts of the mind, our lackful way of thinking, and it starts from the very beginning of what we're doing here, and the power that comes behind us becomes behind our features, who we are as Black people, and why the others are so intimidated. So, Who the Fuck is Society? I feel is a book that every Black family should have. It's the things that we don't know. It's the secrets that the other races don't want to tell us. And I've maneuvered my way in there and got them. So it is literally a bold book that allows you to live with true freedom. And one of my favorite quotes that I always say is, true freedom is not giving a fuck what anyone thinks. Ooh. And so the moment that you don't give a fuck what society thinks, your life really unfolds in the most magnificent way. And I'm a witness of it, you know.
That is a whole word. I'm here for it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it will be out January 2023. They're actually doing the Audible for it and everything right now. Nice. So I'm super, super excited. It's my best work yet.
I need to go get that book.
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was more than therapeutic. This felt like we were just literally just chatting with a couple cocktails. Like, this was our own little saloon. It felt like. I like that. Doing that.
This is our own little happy hour chit chat.
Yes. Well,
yes.
We can't wait to see what you do in the future. We can't wait for the book to come out and whatever endeavors you're getting into next, because we know it's going to be fabulous. Well, we're excited for everyone to start following you and getting all up in your little beehive of fans. And we're always here to support.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I love everybody. So I just show love. So you show me love, I show you more love.
Keep giving the energy back. That's all we ask for. Well, that is all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen, and all others. You've been listening to High Tea with Mel, Kel, and Kay. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and follow us on Instagram at HighT_podcast and on Twitter at HighTPod1. And take a peek in the description box for more links on all things High Tea. And we'll talk to you the same time, same place next week.
MKK out.